You have a stock price, it goes up and down. And let's say you're here, and let's just say you got in here, you go, oh, okay, I can predict there's going to be a trend. And then you got a trend, and maybe it's like 2 days here. So you had 2 days already gone, and you go, okay, should I stay in the trade or should I exit? Obviously, if you stay in the trade, it could go here, could go there. But if you stay in the trade, you could actually realize a much higher return. If you exit the trade, then you might just end up with a lower return. So the question is, what's the right what's the right thing to do? And a environment, and the environment in trading could be, for example, a set of technical indicators, um, t trading or the time of the day, some alternative data, some sentiment, and so on. And effectively, what happens is this environment or the way this environment is constructed is basically a state. So what is the environment at this current time, What are the values of our indicators? What is the sentiment? What is the volatility and so on? And so this state goes into an agent, and based on that, the agent then performs an action. So what's the actions that we can do in a really simple trading system? Like the most basic one, anyone? What are the actions that we could do in the most basic trading environment? Any ideas? Well, that's exactly right, Carlos. Thanks very much. I was just gonna say buy, sell, or hold. So we could buy, we could sell, but also we could take no action. Thanks, Carlos. So we've got these actions here, buy, sell, and hold. And so these actions basically then influence our environment again. And what's also interesting is when we perform an action, based on the outcome of the action, we actually get a reward. So if the action was a good one, we get, let's say, a positive reward or a high reward. If the action was not so great, our reward won't be so great either. So that also gets then submitted to the agent, and basically the agent learns which actions get given a certain state get rewarded, and which ones get punished. And so this whole system then ends up being this equation. So right now, my reward function was just pure P&L on exit. And with that, it basically ends up being buy and hold. So not so great, right? And but let's say we want to do a little bit more trading, we could actually just use some other reward functions. For example, what's the profit per tick? What's the Sharpe ratio of my trade? We could punish our system for long hold times. So if it holds for too long, we just take away a little bit from the P&L. We could get a punishment for drawdowns. So if the drawdowns are too big, we punish it. We could use binary win-loss. So instead of saying, oh, we made this, the reward is the P&L, we just say the reward is 1 for a win and -1 for a loss, and there's some other ones as well. And you see on my screen here my favorite game called Pong. I think most of you will probably be not old enough to even recognize that anymore. But basically it was one of the first computer games ever. I remember as a kid we were playing it. And what's interesting is when you actually look at this game, and so in that sense, many games anyway, you will see that it actually has the elements of trading built in. And so, we've got obviously the reward functions here. So this is the score effectively. The state is the movement of this cursor or whatever you want to call it, it just goes and bounces around. Don't know, whatever. Oh, this was not exactly an angle where it would bounce, but should know this as a physicist. And then you've got also this thing here, which basically moves up and down and basically prevents that ball from going into the goal. And so this is effectively, or this could be your action as a trader. So if you move up, it could be buy. If you move down, it could be sell. If you stay put, it's just hold. And then here, this is the reward, obviously, is whatever your trading P&L is. And the state is effectively the state of the market. So, for example, if the ball or whatever you want to call it is here and you can see the trajectory going this way, then you just take some action perhaps and move your cursor down just to deflect it and so on. So once you do this, you could basically say, well, actually, I can just look at my trade as a computer game, and I can, in a sense, gamify my trade. So I basically get into the market and say, okay, I'll just go and I treat it as a computer game. And hence I write my code similar to a computer game. And yeah, hopefully this will give me uh, some interesting results. Reward function design, I talked about this, can be challenging. If you use simpler reward functions, then the trading system might just end up doing simple things like buy and holds. If you make them a little bit more complex, then you can actually get much more interesting trading behavior. So overall, reinforcement learning is not a silver bullet. It's very interesting because I still see it as being the future of trading. But we're moving really, really fast right now in this environment of AI and so on that and clearly this is part of AI. I mean, reinforcement learning is also in the large language models, through human assisted reinforcement learning and so on. So this is definitely an interesting part of AI, and it's a very evolving thing. And I think it's very, very important for any quantitative trader to know about it, to know how it works, and at least to have some understanding of it if you want to move into the next era of quantitative trading. I think this experience is indispensable, really.